In a crowded ghetto, sandwiched in a busy city, there lived a young woman named Isabella. She was known far and wide for her radiant beauty and grace, but her life had been marked by hardship and sorrow. Isabella grew up in the orphanage, where she learned to be resourceful, hardworking, and resilient. She knew nothing about her true heritage or any existing family members. As she reached adulthood, she longed for answers about her past and yearned for a family of her own. To make ends meet, she took a job as a housemaid in the grandest mansion in the city, the expensive and opulent Carmichael estate. The mansion was an imposing structure, surrounded by beautifully manicured gardens and attended by an air of mystery. It was owned by the wealthy and reclusive Carmichael family. Mr. and Mrs. Carmichael were known for their icy demeanor and the contempt with which they treated their servants. Isabella was no exception to their unkindness. As time went by, Isabella toiled tirelessly, cleaning and tending to the mansion's every need. Mr. and Mrs. Carmichael rarely acknowledged her presence, and when they did, it was with cruel remarks and demands that seemed designed to break her spirit. But, she remained unwavering, determined to endure and save every penny she earned. One evening, Mrs. Carmichael stormed the kitchen where Isabella was busy preparing dinner. She wanted to know why she had stolen her favorite necklace. The necklace was a gift from her husband when they were celebrating their 10th anniversary. Before she could explain herself, Mrs. Carmichael was already hurling insults and unmentionable names at her. Isabella's cries and explanations that she hadn't stolen her necklace fell on deaf ears. Out of anger, she told her to leave her house. As she walked to her assigned room to pick up her items, Mrs. Carmichael took a pot of boiled water and splashed it on her. She writhed in pain, pleading with Mrs. Carmichael not to hurt her. Isabella crawled painfully to her room, Mrs. Carmichael staring at her unmoved by the severe burns she had inflicted on her. As she was leaving the mansion, Mrs. Carmichael grabbed her bag, to check if her necklace was in there. But what she found, shocked her beyond words. It was a vintage photo of herself as a young woman. She remembered very well the last time she had seen the photo. It was on that fateful early morning, when she left her baby at the orphanage doorstep. Mr. Carmichael, her then boyfriend, had also accompanied her. They had both decided to take the baby to the orphanage because they didn't think they would be able to take care of her, as they were still in college, and unemployed. Amidst painful tears, Mrs. Carmichael asked Isabella where she had gotten the photo. She told her that she had been given the photo by her caregivers in the orphanage, who told her that it had been left with her when she was a baby. Mr. Carmichael had heard the commotion downstairs, and had joined them just in time to understand the truth that was being revealed before their very eyes. There was pin-drop silence in the room, but the feelings of regret, pain, and guilt mixed with joy were loud and clear. Mr. and Mrs. Carmichael had been living in ignorance, unaware that their daughter had been by their side all along. After months of intense therapy and a challenging reintegration, the three were now ready to start a new journey as a complete family. Mr. and Mrs. Carmichael were never the same again. The once mean and contemptuous couple, transformed into friendly and loving people, not only to their daughter, but to everyone else they interacted with.